Hey everybody, Shane Terrio here. Thank you for joining me again today. Today I was going to do something a little different. I've never done this before. I'm still new to the whole YouTube thing, but I thought this might be fun. I've gotten some questions about any practice tips. I thought this would be maybe a little off the cuff, maybe a little on the esoteric side. Maybe you might get, I get a lot out of this. I think it's a very useful technique, and it's a technique of practicing without your instrument. And I first learned of this technique from Howard Roberts. I talk about Howard Roberts a lot on my channel. He was in the 60s and 70s, 50s actually too. He was one of the top LA session guitar players. But later on, more importantly, he became an educator, but he was a real student of like mind psychology and metaphysics and things like that. But speed learning, how to learn quicker, any kind of techniques. And one of the books that he would reference, and also Barney Kessel reference, and there was another guitar player, I forget, also that reference it, is this book, Psycho-Cybernetics, written by a man named Maxwell Maltz. Maxwell Maltz was a plastic surgeon in Los Angeles in the, I don't know when this was, 50s and 60s. And he talks about, self-image and visualization. It's a really pretty powerful book. It's still one of the best, is this self-help, I guess? One of the biggest, best-selling self-help books of all time still. But what does that have to do with guitar playing, Shane, practicing? Let me tell you. Part of this book deals with how mental imagery and things you picture in your head, your brain doesn't really know the difference between, physical reality and you mentally rehearsing something. He uses a couple stories in here, analogies like golf, tennis. This is nothing new to people that are Olympic champions or golfers, things like that. They use this all the time. It's just mental rehearsal, visualization, to use the Anthony Robbins term. But how does that apply? Well, in the book, he says that your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. And I've used this. I use it all the time. I'm using it this week. I told you a couple episodes ago, I'm about to go on tour with Daryl Hall and Howard Jones, and I had to learn all these songs for Howard. So I used my own learning technique that I showed you guys how to prep for the gig. I did that, but I still don't have enough time. So I learned the parts, but not really, really well. So on the flight from LA to New York, the next couple of days, 2 days from now, I'm just mentally rehearsing. I'd go out for a walk in the park and I'm mentally going over those parts in my head in real time, just like I'm playing them. And I just picture myself playing them correctly, where the fingers go. I know this might sound a little weird, but trust me, it really works. And if there's a solo or something you need to learn, when you mentally rehearse it in your head and do it a few times. I mean, spend some time, maybe 5-10 minutes, a few times a day before you go to sleep. Mentally picture yourself playing the phrase correctly. It's very important you picture yourself doing it correctly. And feel what it feels like when you play it correctly. All that stuff really works. And there's another part of this book where he actually uses a little anecdote about stage fright and how to overcome stage fright. Now, I've never really had that problem, but sometimes I'll mentally rehearse for a gig and I'll picture myself being on stage, looking over, the artist is smiling, or if it's my gig, everybody's having a good time, and I'm playing and I'm in flow and everything I play is just happening. And if I take a second and just sort of focus on that mentally first, more often than not, I'll have a great gig. And there is something to it. That's why pro athletes use this technique. So there's something a little, I'm not saying you have to go out and read the book. It's not new agey fluff. I think it's very applicable to what we do as guitar players. There you go, a little mental prep tip from Terrio. Hey, I hope you like this. Hit like, subscribe, help me build the channel. I'll see you next time. Take care.